In this course, we are going to learn the basics of HTML and the styling of HTML using CSS. Now, for this course, we will need only two tools. First, we will need your browser. It can be Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or whatever browser or Brave that you can use. Then, for your code editor, I think the very best is to use VS Code. You can also use WebStorm, but this VS Code is quite very fast to use and it's lightweight, and you can easily download it and start up your project. So these are the two tools that we are going to use to learn this course. Now, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a markup language used by browsers to display websites or to build websites. This is a Chrome browser. We have the header, the title bar, and the bookmarks tab, and then this whole screen here. This whole screen here is where your markup language, where the browser displays your HTML. For us to start, head over to your VS Code, start up a new project. You can call it HTML course, but I chose to call my own semantics. Then create a .html file. So HTML markup language are written in .html files. So whenever your browser picks it up, it sees it contains a website and it expects the code to be in a HTML form. So create your file index.html for now. Then to serve your file, we will need a live server in your VS Code. So you need to install this extension. Let's go here. Then install live server. Install this extension live server. Yeah, so you can just launch development local server with live reload. So just install it. When you're done installing it, you will see it down here. You see it down here. You see I'm currently serving my port at 5,000. So it scales up everything, takes your index.html and serve it first. So if I just go to my browser here and reload, you will see my index.html file. I'm going to remove this, save, and see it reload. So it instantly reloads for you. Now let's start. HTML, like I said, is a markup language. HTML is called a markup language. The markup there is used to differentiate it from the normal programming language like JavaScript, C++, Java, and Visual C++, and all that. So this is a markup language used to build websites or web pages. To start, you open up your file in VS Code. In HTML, there are two things that we need to know: the document structure. Now, inside the document structure, we have two things: the head and the body. Now, the head is being displayed. Like, for example, the head title is being displayed here, and the head structure of the document is invisible to us. The body of the document is being displayed here. And when I say document, I mean the code being written inside a .html file, just the page being rendered by the browser is what we call the document. Like now, this is being rendered. This thing here is called the document. It holds just the central or the root element of your HTML pages. To start writing your HTML code, we will begin with the HTML elements. Now in HTML, we have two things. We have the elements and the text. Elements are used to display either UI or non-UI elements. Then text element or the text node there is used to display text. Let me show you how a document structure is in HTML. To write your HTML, you first start with the HTML element. So we have different types of elements. We have the button, we have the unordered list, we have the ordered list, we have the declarative list, we have address element, we have div element, paragraph element, address element, and so on. There are so many. We will start with the HTML element. Now to write an element in HTML, we will start with the left less than tag like this. We'll start with this. Now this marks the start of an HTML element. Now, after this follows the name of the HTML element. For example, now we want to write the HTML element, so we'll type HTML. Now, after this, it follows by a space. Now, inside this space is where you write your attributes. We'll still come to that, but for now, we are not writing attributes to this HTML element. So now we'll close it. Now to close this element, we'll use the write greater than. See, now we have closed it. We have closed this. Starting from here now is where you can either write a text element or another HTML element. Now, writing a text element or a HTML element, it will now become the child of this HTML element. So the child of this our HTML element will be the head element and the body element. Now let's state the head element. But before we state the head element, we need to specify the document type. Now, this is followed by the left greater than, exclamation mark, and then doc type. Now, this doc type tells the user agent or the browser, whatever that is passing or trying to render our HTML, the type of the mode to use, either the standard mode or the quick mode. The standard mode is to use the current standard mode to render our elements. The quick mode is used to tells the user element or the browser to use the old web format, which can spoil or can even render your HTML wrongly. Now, for now, we are going to use the standard mode. So to tell it to use the standard mode, we'll pass the HTML here, then we close. So this is the end of our document type declaration. Now we go down. Next, we declare our head, the head of our element, the head of our document. Now to do that, we will set up our head element. Now, like I said previously, we will start with, to declare or to start an HTML element, you must first start with this greater than symbol. Now, since we are defining the head element, we will write head. Now we'll close it. Now we'll close it. Now come down. Inside this head element, like I said, the head element for our document describes the headline for our document. Just like the human body, we have the head and then the thorax or the body. So now head defines like the meta information. The title, which holds comprehensive information about what our document is for, so that you can just go through the head, read the information, and you can now say, okay, this is what the this document is all about or renders. Like for example, in your school or in offices, whenever you have a document, there is a head to that document. There is a header to that document. So the header to that document entails everything: the emblem of the company, the form, the name of the person, the directory, the contact information, and all that are in the head, just to give the summary of what the document is all about. Now, there are so many HTML elements that we can use in this head to describe our document. But for now, we'll just be setting the title of our document. Now, to set the title of our document, we will use the title element. To do that, we'll begin with the less than symbol, then we'll type title, then we'll close the element. Now, inside there, remember I said we can still continue with HTML elements or text. Now, in this case, we are defining text. Now, to define text in HTML is simple. Just write your text. Just write your text. You understand? So this is how we declare a text element. Just write your text. That's all. So for this, for this course, we are now going to set our title. Let's call it HTML crash course. Crash course. Now we declared 3 elements here, but they are not yet complete because we have not closed them. This is still open. This is still open, and this is still open. To close an element, now you close an element when you are done. So now we are done setting up our title. Then we need to close it so that for the browser or the user agent to interpret it very well. So to close it, we'll start with the left greater than, then followed by the forward slash. Then after the forward slash, we'll now write the name of that particular element. So we are closing this title. We're going to write title here. We're not going to write head or HTML. So we are going to write title here. Title. Then lastly, we are not done. We will now close it with greater than symbol. So this, we have closed this title element. This head element and this HTML element are still open. So we are done setting up our information for our head for our document. So we'll close this head element. To do that, we'll start with the less than symbol, followed by the forward slash, then we'll write the head because we are closing head. Now, if we come here and write HTML, we have closed HTML, but this head is still open. So the browser will misinterpret. So you see that there's a syntax error or a markup error here. Yeah, the flow broke because we closed element here without closing the head first. So, but some new browsers are kind of like smart in this new age, and they detect it and they write it for you. But in your normal, when you are deep in your HTML, it does not really dictate, and it may spoil the format of your document rendering. So, what we're going to do is to write to close it very well, the correct way. So, we'll write head here, close it. Now, we're going to close the HTML. So now we have closed it. Now, you see, I'm having autocomplete. This autocomplete is being done by this extension. By this extension, was it by this HTML extension? Okay, by this HTML extension here. So you see that it closes everything, auto completes everything for me. So it kind of like helps you in VS Code so as to fasten up your web development. So we're not done here. See, we have only declared our head, the head of our document here, and this head just describes the title of our document. See here, it describes the title of our document. The title of this our document is the HTML CSS crash course. So now, where will the main body of our document goes? To do that, we will come down under this head and then declare the body document, the body element. To do that, like we always do, we start with the less than symbol, then write body, the name of the HTML element, then we close it. Then we see the HTML extension has auto-completed everything for us. So to close it, we'll use the less than / the name of the body and then close it. So in between these tags, in between here is where our web our website will live. This is where we now write the body of whatever we want to display in our browser. So these are non-presentational elements. These are just headless elements. I'll just call it headless element because they don't appear in the visuals of our browser. So this title appears here, so it does not appear here. So it's still part of the headless UI elements. So now let's save and then reload. So you see that we have the title here, HTML CSS crash course. Then there's nothing here because we have not written anything in between these elements, in between these body elements. So this is the standard structure of HTML document. So whenever you want to write your HTML, it must follow this structure. First, you define your HTML elements. So you see it represents the root of an HTML element. Now you followed by the doc type, which defines the type of document, either the standard mode or in the quick mode. So here we define the standard mode. We are writing a standard HTML. Then the next thing is the head. See, we defined our head element here. Now inside the head element, this is where we set the title of our document. What was the title of our document? That's what we set here. So after that, we'll set our body element and then close our HTML element. Then other uh, other languages or other things that you can hear during your web development is children and siblings. Now let me tell you about children. We defined HTML here. It started from here and closed here. So inside this HTML element, we have this body element, head element, title, and doc type. Now this is not an HTML element. It's just an information that is being set. So we have this head and this body elements. Now these two elements are child, or they are the children to these HTML elements. So when you're assessing children of these HTML elements, it will give you head and this body. Now the parent of this head element is HTML because it lives in between the HTML tags, the HTML element tags. So this head is child to to HTML, while HTML element is parent to this head. Now this body element is child to this HTML, while this HTML element is parent to this body element. Now coming to here, see it goes again. This title element is being defined in between the head element. So this title becomes the child to this head element, and this head element becomes the parent to this title element. So if you access the parent of this, it will point to this. If you refer to the child of or children of this, it will contain this title element. Now this head element and this body element are neither parent nor child to each other. They are siblings because they are declared next to each other. Now head is sibling to body, while body is also sibling to head. So if I go to next sibling of head, it will point to body. Whereas if I go to previous sibling of body, it will point to head.